Hey everybody, welcome to Brothers and Booze. How's it going? So we got a guest today. It's Tiffany Martin of the Travelling Pint. So we're really excited to have you here today. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start, but you're going to be up next because we got to hear what you have. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with something light, which is not, as everybody who follows the show knows, I'm not a pale ale person. So what I'm starting with is something called Fly, a hazy pale ale. The brewer, believe it or not, is North High. I'm not even sure where that is. North High Brewing. So that is out of Columbus, Ohio, which is where my brother-in-law is from. Shout out to Adam. So let's give this guy a try. It has no date on it, so I have no idea how old it is. So let's give
Let
this.
your taste buds reveal the age.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's with hazy. It's not classified as Northeast IPA, so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. You got a nice little color to it there.
Which one is it, Doug?
This one is called Fly.
Fly?
Mm-hmm. FLY. Hazy Pale Ale. Got a nice citrusy nose to it, though. I really like that.
I'm not seeing it here on their website.
Okay, so definitely not a Northeast IPA. Not juicy. Got the citrus notes, got the hops, but it's really well combined. It's not super hoppy and it's not super citrusy. It's right in the middle, which for me is great because I don't want it super hop forward because that doesn't appeal to my taste buds. But man, that's really good. Even retains a nice little head on it. Man, that's good.
It looks the part.
Yep, absolutely. And it's a kind of a little homage to the old baseball style with the super weird mustache.
We're just talking about the baseball. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so it's time for our first Canadian beer on the show. You're the first one. You'll be returning if you like us.
Yeah. We had Dan on. Dan's North Wisconsin. That's basically Canada too, but you haven't had him on yet.
That's South Canada.
Yeah, right. It's way north than us, I think. But
so what you got, Tiff? Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to be here. And it's probably like a little bit wrong that I'm cracking an American beer to start, but I'll bring out the Canadian beer after that. So as some of you know, specifically just you two, because I don't know who else is out there, I was just in San Francisco for a week and spent a hell of a week out there. It felt like I was out there for 3 months. I think there's an old song that says I left my heart in San Francisco. I think I left my liver in San Francisco. And of course, while I was out there, we made the trip north to Russian River. So I am actually virtually sharing with you guys my last Russian River beer tonight. It is not plenty. Those got drank right away. But it's one that I can barely pronounce. So it's called Defenestration.
Defenestration.
And it's a Brut IPA. So I don't know, my friend knows a lot about history. So this word means like the action of throwing people out of the window. So I feel like this is put in there.
The only reason I know that is one of my wife's favorite words in the English language.
Really? So that's funny. I'm like, I have no idea. My friend's like, oh yes, I know what that is. And I'm like, oh, well, there you go. He's all about, so about Prague, they used to throw people out the windows, yada, yada, yada. It's a Brut IPA. So I've not had it yet before, and let's drink it. So it's made with Kvike yeast, which is interesting because usually I find in Canada, hold on, I need to drink this.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
That's a gorgeous head on there.
What's this called again?
Defenestration.
Defenestration. Defenestration. So it's a Brut IPA. It's actually bottle conditioned with a bit of Brett, and then the Sacrodilius or whatever the other one is that they put on there. There it is. Beautiful. So you see on the bottom it's telling you that. And Kvike yeast usually does give you a little bit more of fruity esters from it and a little bit of melon involved in there too. So it's actually quite nice. It's not as funky as you would think, being a Brut and kind of having that conditioned and bottle conditioned. Having that sack and Brettanomyces in there. It's not as funky as I would have thought, but saying that, it's actually quite easy to drink. A little bit of tang to it, and the head's gorgeous on it. I don't know what that is. Yeah, it's a nice beer. It's very common around here. I find that we're generally in Canada kind of riding on the coattails of what's going on in the US, but I feel like I've discovered that yeast in a lot more beers over this way than before I've seen it over there. But that could just be what I was kind of drinking as well. And I know that it ferments really, really fast. So a lot of people are using it because they can get a quicker turnaround on beer on it. And I found it very versatile. Like people are using it in anything from like lagers to IPAs to like stout. Like it's been a very interesting to see everything that's been used in for how much of a flavor it does have. And that's kind of all my knowledge goes. I won't say words I don't really know, but it's been good. But this is delicious.
It looks really good.
Yeah, like I love like the sight of a beer. And thank goodness my glass is clean. I'd be embarrassed if it wasn't, but it's fine.
Oh, we've had that.
I've had that more than a few times.
It happens. I'm not someone who like calls people out on it, but you know, sometimes you're like, oh, when you've got a beautiful beer and a beautiful glass, you want to make sure that otherwise no one's looking. You just scrape the inside of the glass with your finger and then get through the bubbles right away. And then
I need to point out something that Tiffany did that I need to do more is swirl my glass. And only put in enough that I can swirl it and you can get the aromatics going. I usually fill it to the top and I'm like, right. And that swirling brings out a lot of those aromatics that you may have not gotten if you wouldn't have done that, right, Tiff?
Yeah. And I think it's just the style, the tiku or teku or whatever you call it. You can't like hold this and not swirl it. Like I might swirl all the carbonation out of here. Well, let me tell you another story while I swirl my glass in circles and look fancy. Like I know what I'm talking about.
I bet you that gets really fun when you're drunk and you're like swirling it. Hey, woo.
So we're 7 minutes in and I haven't had a beer, so I'm going to jump in here. This is too long. So, Super Fluff by Matchless.
Ooh, cute.
Hazy dippy.
Very Jetsony looking can.
Yeah. Matchless is Seattle. I don't know. I'll pull it up.
Just got done saying don't pour it full so you can swirl it around.
Well, and then we also look about bad glasses too. Yeah, dirty glasses. So we hit it all here. Yeah, but
sharing with my
okay.
husband.
So fruity, hoppy, of course. Something a little shady, maybe.
Uh-oh.
This is probably a little long in the tooth.
What? Sorry, what kind was it? I was too busy like.
I didn't hear that either.
Super Fluff, a hazy dipper.
Oh,
Dipper.
Oh. You guys and your dippas. God.
Double IPA. This one. So I gotta keep it real. I can't see it doesn't have a label, but I gotta keep it real. This is one I got in Montana. So
that was a while ago.
That happens.
In Montana.
That happens. Sometimes we go over by and then we're stuck with beers for months.
So, yeah, or over. Well, you know, Tiff, going to Beer Now, and I drove, and you know all the beer that people bring there, and then everybody unloads their beer because they don't want to take it home. Well, my car was that car, and it was fantastic, and I'm still going. But I got a little. This one's a little. I understand and I see what they're doing. It's supposed to be juicy and hazy and big and all that, but I'm not feeling. I'm getting some of that, but not a lot.
Yeah, no, they're different. Kind of sharp, right? A little bit more boozy edge than when all the other stuff fades away on it. Maybe.
You nailed it. It's more. I'm getting more like again, definitely that alcohol-y taste at the end, where I know that there were hops there. So this is a little long in the tooth. Actually, I may actually finish this one because I might still get enough juiciness out of it, and I still get enough like what they were trying to do here. This is I believe that this is a juice bomb. I believe this is one of those big ones, and it just fell out. So this is enjoyable, and I definitely would say pick this up, but make sure it's fresh. And you could probably go pretty good with this one, but it's so Doug.
What's the ABV listed on the Super Fluff, by the way?
Let's see here. My lighting is challenging today. I don't have my regular lights because I don't know why it didn't come on. And I'm getting old and I can't see. I'll pull it up while you do yours.
Yeah, no worries.
I'll pull it up while you go to your next one here for sure.
So this one I just found in Wegmans, and I had to get it because it was just like something the descriptor just kind of threw me, and I was like, I have to get it. So this is something called Super Castrol. It's a premium lager. It's 9%.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So the thing that
I'm so old. Oh my God, 9% lager. Ugh.
Yeah. So now here's the thing that sold me on it was, look at the thing, born in Scotland, and it says crafted using the holy brewing method. What the hell is the holy brewing method?
Right.
So I'm gonna crack this open because this I'm a little worried.
I would be too. I would be too. Oh man, that is funny.
That looks not at all like a lager to me. That looks really, really light.
It could be. It could be.
All right.
It could be.
Now hold on. I need to, as I wave it back and forth instead of switch it around.
Super Fluff is 8.3.
Matchless. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know. You can see this picture here.
Oh, that looks good in the picture.
Yeah, and that's not how it looked here. So what you?
This smells like a golden ale, like not like a lager. You know what I mean?
What is this beer called again?
Called Castrol. Kestrel. Got little Scottish flags. Also, I'm a huge fan of Scotland because that was where Jill and I went on our honeymoon. Country.
Aww.
Oh, that's so cute. You better share that with her.
Aww.
Castro's. I get weirded out by like strong lagers like that, and I find like a few people have been doing like a barrel age, and I guess the whole concept of lagers originally was the whole that's like lagering, but I don't know why that weirds me out when someone's like now aged lager again. Like I get confused by that, and I feel like they really don't hide that heat and alcohol when they're big like that either. But I've only had a couple, so I feel like I'm still like trying to figure out what my relationship is with that.
Yeah,
he's so bizarre.
Yeah, so the thing is, what they say on this can here is, I think they might even have it there as if Greg has it on the thing. It's just, our master brewer crafts a truly premium beer using the finest selection of ingredients, water, and nearby natural source, and Scottish malted barley, which is crushed, not ground, as part of our unhurried 9-stage brewing of Castrol. The crucial fermentation period lasts a full 7 days, including the Sabbath, in a process known as the holy brewing method, inspired by traditional monastic taste.
Okay.
So apparently the Sabbath is the key ingredient to the holy brewing method. I didn't know that. So anyway.
Maybe that's what makes it holy.
Yeah, so they're saying a holly-hued polished gold and a ephemeral white foam. Yeah, it's like I said, it smells to me like a golden ale, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep. So this is a Scotland beer. Look at this.
Huh. I do need to check out like the import section more at our LCBO, is what we call like our liquor control board, the crazy rules we have in Ontario.
We had that when I lived in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, like I need to. Oh yeah, Pennsylvania is kind of great too. But I like how he's like, it's like crushed malt. It's just like, I'm trying to think of what the main character from like Highlander show was. He's just like crushes the malt with his hand before he handsomely brews a beer with his blouse undone, like because he's that handsome character in his kilt and whatnot.
Yeah.
Crushing the malt with his.
So that one there, it is. It's
dark. Yeah.
It's like a sweet lager. That's it's not a classic lager at all because I think because it's strong because of the alcohol. But it's just
the holy part too.
The holy part. I mean, they just it's not glowing yet because I haven't blessed it. But it's I think you're drinking this for the alcohol content more than anything to me. But I don't know. It's I had to try it because I'd never heard of the holy brewing method for one. So I was like, and plus, So
Re-
it's drinkable, but it's not something, one, because it's 9%, I wouldn't recommend drinking a ton of it. But two, if you're looking for something with a really, like something that packs a lot of punch on flavor, this is not your beer. It's just, I'm drinking a lager, a sweet lager, and it's not, you're not drinking it for personality. You're drinking it because I want a lager and it's late summer and I want to get drunk. That's what I think this is.
There's not a lot of levels to that one.
No, this is a very straightforward thing.
Hey, man.
Yep. So our friend Rod J said that it's a reformulated Natty Ice.
Also, Daniel
I don't know what that means.
Daniel Fisher called it a Euro lager, which I think is really funny.
Euro lager. But also Rod J says that golden ales can be similar perception to lagers, which is why it can be a good crossover style. And he's right.
Yeah, that's like if I'm looking to get hammered, I probably would drink more of that. But if I'm looking for something that's tasty, that wouldn't be it.
Tiffany, you ready or should I jump in?
For a second one?
Yeah.
So I had my beer husband, my Insta husband. No, I had my husband go grab me another beer. I was like, grab me something out of the fridge. So I don't know if he heard us talking about maybe older beers. So this one's been in the fridge for a little bit. Mind you, it's a stout, so we're okay.
I think that'll be fine.
Right? But this is not just any stout. It is Grandpa's Old White Eggnog Stout. And there's probably a reason that I've been nervous to drink this one. It is a charity beer from our Great Lakes. This is our Canada. This is Canadian. We have a
yes, I know.
And then the next one will be full Canadian. So I'm like migrating through here in the stages. And they do give money to the Daily Bread Food Bank for this. And, well, that's about all I got to say. There's some oats in here, and I don't know what the eggnog's all about. So let's get her done, as they say here. Oh.
So it's called Great Lakes.
There's my first surprise. So I guess it's a white stout.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Great Lakes Brewing.
Yeah, if this is not tasting so good, this has nothing to say about the brewery. This is one of my favorite breweries in town. They would make one of my favorite beers called Octopus Wants to Fight. There it is. Those are all the beers on that screen I could drink every single day of my life. The Canuck is consistently in my fridge. The Octopus Wants to Fight is drinking all the time. The Pompous Ass is consistently in my fridge. And those are all beautiful beers. So whatever's going to happen here is nothing to say about any else that they have because they are a beautiful, beautiful brewery.
Okay. That Pompous Ass one looks awesome.
Which one?
Well, that's like, what does that remind me of? It's very sweet. I want to say cotton candy, but it's almost vanilla in there too. I don't drink eggnog at Christmas, so maybe it tastes like eggnog and I just don't even realize. I have like this fear of like dairy products and alcohol. But it's actually not that bad. There is there is no head left on that, but with some sweetness that I actually don't mind because I get funny with sweeter beers too. I do like my dry and I do like my bitter.
But you're not a lactose and beer lady?
Oh, I'm not really. We can talk about that. I feel like that's gonna that makes my I think that makes my followers go down daily that I'm not craving on hazies and lactose infused. So we have a lot of lactose going on around here. I don't mind it. The number one reason I don't, or I have a couple reasons. I do find I'm not a big fan of vanilla, and I find in my beer, and I find often there are very much vanilla undertones. Again, I guess depending what they put it in with or what they've mixed it with. Number two, I'm diabetic, and I find lactose beers and that milk sugar send my sugars through the roof. So that's like the one that I hide behind and put out front as my main reason for not in drinking a lot of them. But there are some, depending what fruits they're putting in, there's some that I don't mind, but it's not really my go-to as far as beers. I'm almost kind of starting to revert back to like traditional styles. But I do love my IPAs, a lot of West Coast. I like my hops. I like my dry. I like my bitter.
This place has interesting art. You see here.
Yep.
Harry Potter. I like that. That's fun.
They do Harry Porter and like the Cherry Porter. They do a whole series of those beers. Oh yeah, you can see them. Those are beautiful beers. Those are very beautiful beers. Oh, and go up one. There's the Grandpa Stout up there. There you go.
Oh, there it is. 5%.
5% flavored stout.
Is this it? This is it here?
Yeah. So served via nitro. So clearly not here. Actually, that would be pretty nice on nitro. Oh, brew with lactose. There you go. Vanilla.
Are you getting a vanilla?
That's probably why I was saying that cotton candy, but not quite.
And then maybe
you know what? It's the nutmeg and the cinnamon.
Okay, I was gonna say, are you getting
that triggers that like. It's interesting. I actually. What a mix with that Brut IPA. I'm just gonna go through the gauntlet of styles here.
That's kind of a change up there.
Right.
That was a treat. I shouldn't have held off so long on trying that one. It wasn't nearly as terrifying. So brought to you from the tail end of 2018 is Grandpa's Eggnog. Oh, it does say white stout on it, so I should have known it wasn't going to come up there.
Now, I had Cellar Day beer that was that had cinnamon in it, and it was like when I opened it a year later, it was like cinnamon just in your face.
Oh, interesting.
But that was not like a combination. It was called Sinsanity from Weyerbacher, and it was just a stout that was a cinnamon stout. So it didn't have all those other flavors kind of fighting for it. But man, I opened that up a year later, and it was like somebody had thrown 500 cinnamon sticks in it. So.
Yeah, I did a cinnamon toast crunch beer I brewed at a brewery once, but they used a funny kind of vanilla in it, or cinnamon and vanilla. It just didn't turn out right. Sometimes it depends, I think, what they're putting in there, right? Is it sticks? Is it like powder? Or I don't know if you can get syrup of that sorts too, but I don't know. It all makes a difference on, I think, how it comes out.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they can make a simple syrup out of it with cinnamon and sugar.
Yeah.
So this is what I just poured here. I'll show it to you once we can see this here. But dark chocolate coffee, robust oatmeal porter. I don't see many oatmeal porters. Do you, Tiff?
Ooh, I guess oatmeal stouts. I mean, porter stout. There is a difference, but sometimes it's a fine line. We get a lot of oatmeal stouts.
This is pushing a. This is. I'm gonna assume it's a porter. This is pushing stout though. With the body, the mouthfeel is thicker. It's chocolate. Oh man, this is right up your speed, Mr. Scotch for yours. This is fantastic. To me, this is like it's almost it's that fine line between a porter and a stout. Looking at 6%, so it's at that fine line of ABV between low end porter and a stout. Chocolate and coffee all day long. It does have this silky smooth finish. I'm not, again, I guess in the mouthfeel is where you feel the oats, right?
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, and
the other thing I'm wondering is how with porters, what I really look for is that nice roasty flavor. But I think the problem is when you throw coffee in it, that kind of the coffee roast takes over the porter roast flavor, which is different to me. So are you getting the coffee that's overriding the porter roast?
The coffee is overriding the porter roast. The coffee is pretty, you could almost call this a coffee porter if you wanted to. And
Tiffany's like, yee.
Yeah, it's such a vastly different perspective than our last guest who turned the coin brown water porter on our show. So
porters are brown water.
She says that porters, Tiffany, taste like brown water to her. And
I didn't even watch it because of the title, and I knew. And I'm just kidding. I watched it.
I lost you saw me lose my mind. It was great. It was fun. But no, this is a really good porter, man. I love it. Good times.
Great beer. Obviously, you like it, but there's such a history to it too.
Yeah.
That almost was what those were around, like what almost led to IPAs. I don't know. It's a beautiful beer, and there's a beautiful history, and it's just.
Oh, I just think it's great
great.
I just think it's great that someone actually pinpointed porter as the one that's overrated, because I run around screaming that it's an underrated style. So it's just a really good clash to have that conversation.
Yeah, fair enough.
It is very good style. So real quick though, now it's time for our sponsor.
Ta-da!
It's funny, what we do is we get the sponsor, like we get the sponsor to have like 2 or 3 beers, and then we do the sponsors.
It makes it much more fun.
Hey man,
Now it's time for our sponsor.
It's time for our sponsor. Hi everybody. I should have my shirt and all my paraphernalia on here. I can do my one thing.
I will put your website up right now though.
Oh yeah, perfect. So my name is Tiffany, as we've already chatted about, and I am the Traveling Pint, 2 L's, because I originate in Canada. I do travel around Canada and the US, and I write about beer and travel. So it did start out as a craft beer blog mainly, but I had such an addiction to traveling and discovering beer and meeting new people throughout the world that I kind of threw a little bit more of a travel edge on it and added a little bit more depth to the blog, because when you're drinking beer, there's lots of things to do as well, including food, meeting people, and sightseeing, riding cable cars. Woo-hoo! That was like the first picture I took when I got like off the airplane, and like I came up the escalator in San Fran, like right to that thing, and I dropped everything and jumped on. It was pretty funny. So yeah, I've been running my blog for about 5 years now. When I did start it, I knew very little about craft beer as far as sort of education goes, and I just love beer. And I've always been a beer drinker. And as I started to write about it, I started to learn more about it and just sort of fell in love with the education and the people behind it and everyone that I was meeting, and just the depth to what beer can actually bring. So it sort of just kind of kept going from there. I got quite a bit of traction. People were apparently listening to everything I had to say, which was really exciting. And it kept going from there. Since then, I will do beer pairings, beer and food pairings around the town that I live in. As well as I help run a local beer festival and kind of arrange the breweries for that. It's kind of a new wing that I've taken on. I work with a lot of tourism boards in my area and across the country, as well as the States, and do some more travel and writing about breweries and places to go. And then I also run this rad all-ladies beer group in Hamilton, Ontario called Iron Beer Maidens. So we usually get together bi-monthly, sometimes it's a little bit longer than that, depending what we're kind of getting up to. And generally on Monday nights, we'll get about 50 women together to do a blind tasting, and it kind of brings a little bit of education to the plate. People win points for guessing things. We have rad woman music, a rad woman speaker, and we kind of just have a really good time. So we have our first actual beer fest coming up on Saturday in September 21st. So, and if any of you are watching and you're local within 6 to 10 hours from Hamilton, Ontario, come on down and check us out. It's a lot of fun. It's all it's gonna be all women-made beer or women-owned breweries at this festival as well. But yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell, as like the whole Austin Powers thing says. But I really love everyone that I've met, and coming to the Beer Now conference, kind of making connections with Greg has led to super fun opportunities like this. I am a big fan of American beer as well as Canadian and what's going on here. So it is nice seeing you guys discuss stuff and actually like recognizing some brands. I mean, there's so much going on over there, but kind of I feel like I am on top of the scene a little bit in certain states as well. So it just really kind of keeps me going. Let's check out that beer fridge. That's a pretty nice beer fridge, eh? It's my new one.
I kept it up because I have the same one.
Oh, did you have it? Nice. Did you? Oh my gosh, are those your underpants?
What'd you say?
Those your underpants? Just kidding. Your clothes.
Oh, yeah. Now you see what behind the curtain. Right.
You're the mighty and powerful Oz. All right.
The emperor has no clothes, right? Or he does have clothes, right? He does, actually. No, I love that beer fridge. I just got mine. I actually picked mine up on was it Prime Day? I don't know. There was one of these things where it was like really, really cheap. It was like $100 off, and I was like, I didn't really need it, but I was like, well, it's $100 off.
I had a promo code for you.
Yeah, right. It was $100 off, so you know how it goes. It was on sale. Yeah, so, thanks, Tiff, for coming on. And thanks for telling everybody who you are, and some of that stuff I didn't even know. So that's fun. Yeah,
it kind of expands and comes and goes. But yeah, the blog, so the website's the main place, and I should say an Instagram too. So I'm just Traveling Pint, 2 L's on Instagram. But I really love Life in Pictures and Life in Video. So please feel free to follow along there for a bit more animated. And if you want to see my writing skills, they're not as frequent on the blog, but they certainly are there, and all the trips. And if you're planning an area, you might have found somewhere that I've been, and you should go discover. So there you go.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you, but I have to.
I'll have to take them.
Okay, so I have to prep mine. I have to find a picture. You have a picture, and I need to show the picture, and then I can ask, and then everybody knows what I'm talking about. So,
Perfect.
who's next, Doug?
Yeah, but I have
a question and do your beer.
Yeah. So Tiff, you had a thing on your website there that I saw where you were doing March Madness.
Yes.
And I am a giant college basketball fan.
Yes.
I was like, no way, I'm in on that. So next year I'm following the shit out of that.
Yes. So I will take credit. I actually Beer Ploma does that. So Dan Bobian, I don't know if you know him in this circle. So he does it out there, and I was like, I need to I asked him, can I also do this? Because I did it with smaller breweries in around Ontario or across Ontario. So I had 4 sections off and kind of went down that way. But he does an American one too, so you might be able to. I don't know if it's basically Wisconsin, but either way, you can get in on either of them. But it wasn't basketball related. But I grew up playing basketball. I grew up a huge Lakers or Magic Johnson fan, and I absolutely love March Madness. There is no better basketball on TV than NCAA at that time, so it's wicked.
So I did one time write an article for a website I used to write for where I did March Madness, but what I did was wherever the games were held, I tried to get beers from those states. And that was a lot harder than I thought it was.
I was going to say,
all right, this is taking place out in California. Well, all right, I can get some of that. Or there's one that were taking place in Salt Lake City. Well, Utah is there's not a whole lot of breweries you can get stuff from. So that was actually kind of hard. I wasn't getting them from because there was, my favorite part of the weekend's the first weekend where it's just insanity.
Souls get crushed, underdogs.
I couldn't get
beers broken left, right, and center.
If I would have had to get beers from each school, I would have been dead by noon. So I didn't do that. But I was like, oh yes, rubbing my hands all right. So I'll be definitely looking into that because we don't get a whole lot of Canadian beers where I am. Even though I live in upstate New York, I think we get more. We don't.
You probably get Collective Arts now. I know they're distributing a lot across the U.S. And I'll have to think. I feel like a little bit of Nickelbrook, but
I haven't seen any there. The Collective Arts I see a lot of. I really like them. I really like their porter. That's a beer of theirs that I really like.
So Doug, you ready?
Yeah, I am. All right. So this is also from my brother-in-law. He gave me Fly. He also gave me this one, Weyerbacher Chocolate Pretzel Sunday Morning Stout.
Ooh, that sounds good.
So this one is a big one. It's 12.7 ABV. So it's a barrel aged with gratuitous amounts of cocoa nibs, cocoa powder, lactose.
It defines too. I don't always know it's
unrefined sea salt, lots of roast and dark chocolate. Play along nicely with the bourbon, coffee, and vanilla. So there's a shit ton of stuff going on in this.
Oh, some sea salt in there too. I like it.
Oh, that bourbon smell right off the can.
Let me give me a smell.
I don't know if you can, but there you go.
Well, it looks syrupy. Look at even that little drop.
Well, look at this.
Oh, it looks like oil. I like a nice black beer, though. I really do. And it looks like a can head there.
Oh, man. It's just all booze. I don't smell any of the chocolate or any other notes on the nose. So,
wow.
So I'm going to say my brother-in-law probably had this in his fridge for a year and a half. I don't know how long. So,
so a lot of this could have fell off.
Let's hashtag this show old fridge beers. We'll do new beers next week, guys. Don't worry. But today,
I might die. But
breaking out the oldies.
Yeah, we are. Shaking with the oldies.
Next one's fresh, I swear.
Dancing with the oldies.
Canned on March 14th of this year.
Oh, not too bad.
Oh, that's not bad for.
How boozy it was on the nose. I was like, this thing's super old. I was just like,
but it doesn't get any more real than that, in my opinion, because like that's part about beer drinking is that we just collect beer and then it's just in the fridge and then we forget about beers in the back and then you're like, oh my goodness, I forgot about this one. Like, it always
sometimes
happens.
you accidentally put a nice IPA down in your cellar and you forget that shouldn't be down there and you're like, oh!
Right, exactly.
idea.
Bingo. So is it as boozy as it smells?
yes, but the lactose and the chocolate make it nice and creamy.
Nice.
Like it's not just like a booze bomb where you're just like,
Booze?
yes.
Wow.
And that's not what I expected. When I smelled it, I was like, this is just going to be, all right, here's all the booze and here's a little bit of stout flavor. No, the chocolate and the lactose and all that play really nice. I'm going to drink the hell out of this. So
nice. They might help with that sharpness on the alcohol too, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know how that works when it's, I feel like that's usually bottles and cellars. I don't know how it works with cans and fridges if that's the same.
Yeah, I'm curious. I have a couple cans that I put in my cellar. I have a one called the Patriarchy from Duclaw out of Baltimore that I put in my cellar. Like, I keep meaning to bring that up. I keep forgetting it's down there because it's in my cellar and it's stocked in this one little corner that's dark, and I just forget to look. That one I think's been in my cellar for like a year and a half, and I'm afraid to open that one up because it's a pastry beer and it's blueberry.
Oh.
So that could be interesting, but.
So Tiffany.
Yeah.
You have another one, or you?
Explain this.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah. I did well on this. Well, we can give a couple stories. I'm always one to tell the truth, so I'm not going to make up anything here. We've gotten to there's a really great festival that's thrown twice a year at Steam Whistle, which is a larger brewery out of Toronto, Ontario. Yada yada. This is Summer Roundhouse Festival. This is my beer drinking vest. It's covered in patches of all the breweries I've been to who sell patches across. And I've seen these on TV, and I think Dan was doing one recently too. And I saw that sitting there, and I was like, oh, I need to do. I can't remember what they called it, like Craney McCrane or something like that. And I was like, I need to do this. But the guy was like really hesitant, and he wouldn't give me beer, and he just kind of gave me water. And I was like, well, what's going on here? And he's like, well, they were timing you. If you got the best time, you won a prize. So he put the water in, and I was like, okay, whatever. And Bernie took a picture, and I actually like got it into my mouth, and then sort of bit the cup, and then the bottom fell out. So once that's not touching anymore, you're like, your time's up too. But I didn't spill anything. I actually like first attempt, like basically nailed it-ish, like 75% nailed it. So I was very, very proud of myself. And then I said to the guy, I'm like, well, what's the deal? Like, can I do beer now? And it was just a matter of tokens, which I wouldn't have given the guy all the tokens in the world. So there's a bit of miscommunication. I thought he also didn't believe in the Travelling Pint. He had a little bit less belief in Tea Pint, where, you know, it is what it is. But anyway, so I got to try one of these. I did fairly well. I proceeded to drink way more beer that day and didn't want to go back and actually try it again because I had a new white shirt on. I didn't want my new white shirt to get dirty already, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was a lot of fun. So this is like an average day. I like to have fun.
Right. And to me, that's like the picture. I like the pictures that you showed me because to me, they capture you well, and this was part of it. So, and I could see that there was no beer in it, but like this is one of the ones you sent me for the promos, and I was like,
yeah, there's some water. There's like that much water in it, but
right. And I was like, this I'm gonna have to show in the show.
It's actually vodka. They fill it up with vodka.
Oh, really?
I just thought it was Zima.
Yeah.
Oh, was it the what are those dumb White Claws? Was it White Claws?
That's what can I ask? Can we go on a little sidebar here? Because I'm
Wait.
Fun of all these White Claws, and I'm like, why White Claw?
You have to open your next beer and then cool.
So this beer is from about 35 minutes down the road. If I drive past and hit no red lights, it is from Granny Grit. So it's one of my favorite local breweries. It's called Invisible Friend.
Oh, I love that.
Pale ale, and I'll show you why it's favorite. Hold on, I'm getting woo. Don't worry, nothing's gonna happen here. Rated R if you're watching. But it's one of my favorite labels because I have I have like a ghost dog tattoo, and this isn't really a ghost dog, but it's like a ghost, so it's cool.
What's the brewery again?
Grain and Grit out of Hamilton, Ontario. Lindsay and Joe. It's owned by a couple. If you can find it, I can put the spelling up there for you, Greg, if you need to see that.
No, I really love that label is really badass.
They do gorgeous, gorgeous labels. All their stuff's fun. You know, they have a nice mix of sour. They do put a lot of lactose and stuff too, but they make beautiful beers there. They do saisons. They have some great IPAs. They like their doubles there as well. Sometimes the alcohol on their list is high at times, but yeah, look at this. They have gorgeous, gorgeous beer, and the couple is fantastic. They've been open maybe, I want to say just about a year and a little bit, year and a half maybe. If you could like run a business model on like how to open a brewery and run a brewery and be successful and be consistent, like these guys are just fantastic at it. I just think they've done a fantastic job at everything that they've done, from beer to the kind of crowd and scene that they've created there. They've got a good staple of locals that, you know, regardless of anyone else ever business, they could thrive off of. But yeah, I raise a glass to these guys because they've done very, very well. And this is a fantastic beer.
It looks excellent. So,
yeah.
I just like, one, it's a great name. And I've told Greg many times, if you can do a good label, I'm going to trust your beer more than likely, just because if you took time to make the label look nice, it's probably going to take time to make the beer taste good.
Yeah, and I do like the consistency because we have a few people around here now that are throwing out these cool labels, but I'm like, this is nothing like, unless their consistency is being inconsistent. I guess that's still a consistency of sorts. Now I'm like in a tongue twister, but yeah, I agree. And you know what? I'm one, dude, this hop charmer was delicious too.
Wow.
I am one to shop with my eyes as well, right? Like, these guys, most of them are at the brewery because they just are still like a smaller batch and selling out. So they're not necessarily in much distribution or like in our LCBOs, but you go in there and it's like to buy with my eyes too. And they have a lot of t-shirts with all of their labels on it. So it's very, very well done.
Yeah. So
very fruity. It's still light. I guess it is technically a hazy. I feel like it's more chill haze on there, but I mean, they're still saying it's a hazy IPA. I feel like it's hazy, but I feel like what you see nowadays, I'm like, that ain't hazy. Because it's like sometimes it looks like orange juice, right? But
yeah,
right.
It's beautiful, and it's not those ones that are fuzzy and have all that like hot residue that you want to brush. Like, it's just such a clean drinking beer. But I guess that's kind of what an APA is in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
It still has that really crispness to it, and you want to drink it nice and cold and fresh.
Yeah, that is a lot less hazy than the one that I had. That was a hazy pale ale, and you were having an American pale ale. So that way, it's like that's a pretty nice contrast to see how those work.
Yeah.
So, Tiff, back to what you wanted to talk about real quick, which is White Claw. Americans should also we said in the pre-production we said you could bash America if you want it. It's cool because we do it all the time. But so I'm going to bash America first. Here we go. We're sorry for the White Claw thing. I apologize.
I don't even know what it is though.
It's hard seltzer with fruit flavors.
Right. Now, the thing about it too, you miss Beer Now, but you know how Julia comes out during Beer Now and gives this big presentation about the styles and the trends and all that. Well, Julia told us that this seltzer thing is not going away, and it's huge, and she's right, because I just saw an article this morning that said that White Claw sold out. Their production, or I'm sorry, the amount that they sold went up 300% in 1 month, and this is serious. This is a real thing. We have two breweries that are doing seltzers. One of them is the third biggest brewery in Wisconsin is Ale Asylum. They have, I think, 3 of them on tap now. These things are big. They're not going away. They're not my thing, but they are here to stay for at least a while because the chart is just like this. And then she even showed like hemp beers and, you know, remember how we talked, like, I think you were there 2 years ago when she talked about cannabis beers and stuff like that. And they were like a little blip. Like, seltzers are like this.
So is this like when you go to the store and you get like a vodka soda in a can? Is that essentially what you're calling a seltzer? So is it vodka and fizzy water in a can?
It's not vodka.
But it's not vodka, no.
It's not vodka? What is it?
It's fermented out.
It's gonna bother me.
Yeah. It's fermented out. It's like a
Oh, okay.
It's like
these are my questions because we had a friend staying with us, and she's not a big beer drinker, so she drinks like coolers and stuff. So I went to the LCBO and I was like, what is this section? And there was like 6 brands I'd never seen, and they were all like vodka sodas in cans. And there was pineapple, there was all these flavors. So I bought her a bunch and I drank a few, and they were fucking delicious. And I was
wow, okay.
So flavored soda water, it's 5.5%. And this is like, I thought they were delicious. It was a hot summer day. I was like, these are
that makes a difference.
Then when I saw this White Claw stuff, I'm like, oh no, do I like White Claw? But I knew it was a different brand, but I didn't know if it was the same shtick. So I'm confused as to what the substance is. I still love beer. I've always drank beer, but those seltzer or whatever vodka soda things in a can, that one pineapple one, woo! I would drink that on a regular basis.
See?
I said it here.
That's what you like, then
you might want to edit that out, but I just said it. Yeah, it was late, and I like fizzy water
because you like what you like, and that's fine.
Yeah, you like what you like. That's great.
But
and
I'm worried about
a lot of people like it.
I tried to look for it when I was in San Fran. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I will tell you, when I'm looking up White Claw in here, it says that it's a flavored malt beverage. So it's a malt beverage.
Oh,
that's
not at all. That's different.
So it's a malt beverage, blend of seltzer water, and has a gluten-free alcohol base with a hint of fruit flavor.
And apparently there's no sugar and it's low calories. So, or I'm sorry, not no sugar, low sugar and low calories. So the alternative, people are using it as an alternative to beer with the
carbs mail me one?
And all that.
Mail me, or I'll go over to Buffalo.
Sure.
Mail me a beer box to the States.
I will tell you, when you go to Buffalo and you try to buy one of those, there's 18 different varieties of the same seltzer kind of stuff. So White Claw is just one brand. There are, I swear to you, there's Truly, there's all these other ones, and they're all just derivatives of the same thing. It's like, remember when Bartles and James came out with the wine, what the hell were they called?
Wine? No, not wine.
Not wine spritzers, but like they were like that. But they were like, but yeah, they had like and there was a whole bunch of people that kind of knocked off that. That's just how you'll find a bunch of them. But yeah,
weird. Okay, so that's just so confusing because I feel like seltzer to me should be like bright and refreshing, not a malt beverage. So I'm more confused than I was before we started this conversation, and I'm okay with that. I will have to discover what that means. And I saw some funny like. On that like weird Wish site that sells weird stuff, they had like these funny shirts about White Claw too today. So that wanted me to bring up the
right. Beer people like to make fun of it.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws.
The claws. Right.
Thing. Right. White Claw. No, this is not the right thing. Edit that part out.
There's no editing.
Live show. Yeah, sorry.
And the thing is,
that's
their charm. That's our charm right there. It's just
right. So now I'm not really a fan because again, I think for me, beer's about the mouth. I want that mouth feel and I want the different flavors. But I understand the appeal. And I don't know. I don't think
it's beer essentially because it's a malt-based beverage. Sorry, we don't have to keep talking about this. I'm just like
no.
Was Zima like classified as a beer because that was a malt-based beverage?
Oh, Zima, yes.
No, I didn't classify that as a beer. That wasn't a beer to me.
I don't know beer, and neither is seltzer.
A shit ton of people drank that stuff, so
right. It doesn't have to be beer though.
Low calories.
Yeah, I don't think that was low calorie. I just think that was like a bunch of white chicks that like drinking that didn't like beer.
Well.
Oh, and it's owned by the guy who does Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Hey, lots of people like, I can't drink that because it's so carbonated. That's like just that goes right in my belly.
It's like high school regret. It tastes like.
So I have a beer here from Three Magnets Brewing.
Please, thank you. Segue. Somebody segue this.
And this is my last one. I'm not getting to my fourth tonight. It's just not going to happen. The fourth it's a barrel aged quad. I'm not doing it.
Oh man, we were going to end with a barrel aged quad.
Yeah, no, we're not. No. So we're going to go with Dry Season, which is.
I like that name.
It's a lightly smoked rustic saison. So a smoked saison.
A smoked saison. All right, I'm intrigued.
I am too. I had it right when you guys were talking. It doesn't have much. I was
Look
trying
at the
to get
color,
ahead on
though.
this
That's
one.
Oh, okay. Never mind. It's just the background.
Yeah, it's just the background. I try to get ahead out of this when I can't. A light smoked smell, more of the typical saison, a little bit spicy going on. Saisons, as you know, Tiff, saisons, and you probably too know, Doug. Saisons can vast from, woo. I mean, that's a big swath of. If I just said IPA, it'd be kind of almost the same thing because you can go hazy and juicy and deep and this and saison. So this one here, it seems a little bit of a light saison, I would say. Out of the smell, the smoke is there, but it's light like they say it is. The saison part is there, and it's lighter than I thought it was going to be. This is I want to say this is a summer one, but it's more like fall because that smoke. I can feel myself out back at the back at the fire. Doug, I know you have a fire. Tiff, I think you have one
fire
too.
pit. Yep.
Do you have a backyard fire pit?
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. This is a backyard fire pit one, but not when it's colder. When you're back at the fire pit and it's colder, you want like a stout, in my opinion. You want something big. This is like right now, September-ish. Still a little bit hot, but it gets a little cold. Yeah, this one.
Like a 3/4 shirt,
Yeah, exactly. This one.
Oh, no 3/4 shirts. I'm in short sleeves till it's like 45 degrees.
You're like a Winnipegger.
When it's like 80, I am dying. I am just sweating the entire day.
So that sounds interesting, Greg. Like I am someone with saison. I always say it's not on the top of my list for favorite styles, but I also find them so beautiful and intriguing that like hands down they always belong in my flight of beer. I think the pepperiness and like the yeast esters that come from a saison, I think those would go quite interesting with the smoke that you're describing. So I'd be kind of curious to try that, and I feel like I have seen that somewhere around here. And I'm wondering if it was Grain and Grit. I feel like I just recently saw something about a smoked saison, but it intrigued me enough to try. So,
and one more thing, when I got you, I've been noticing too, and we've been talking for a bit because we've collaborated on a different show that's not out yet, and we've also talked about doing another show that I'm doing. So me and you've been talking back and forth for a while. One of the things I'm so interested in, and it definitely to me is a trend, is that you guys have a lot more brute stuff going on than we do. We see some of it, and Doug, I don't know, you can tell me what you see over there in New York. I see some brute things, but I'm not even seeing them anymore. Like it was more of a
brute I drank this
last year?
American brute, but
yeah,
last year when they talked about it at the conference, you guys had barely even had them, and I'm like, they were everywhere here. But they've come on quickly too.
Oh, really? Because I'm still seeing. I was still seeing them when I went to the websites that you were drinking. I still saw a couple brute there, and I was like, I'm not seeing them here. And there was more of like a bump last year, and now I don't see them at all. I've seen one or two. So are they still a thing up there?
They're bright, carbonated, kind of like more like a champagne-y.
Isn't that the yeast they use?
Yeah. But that's weird because this said brute and then it said Kvike, which I didn't think Kvike
is brute. Or was it brute?
Yeah, I'm confused by the first one I drank because on here it says like Belgian inspired blonde, but then it said brute on the website. But anyways,
is it still a thing up there at brute though, or is it dying out? You said, right?
No, I feel like it kind of did like a quick dial. Like they're still around, but not. It sort of came and we're probably waiting for you guys to bump it up again, and we'll be like, whoa, and we'll move on.
No, they're done. We're clawing now, man. We're white clawing all over the place. So we're not.
Yeah, I didn't. We saw in a brief bit. I saw a shit ton of brewed IPAs, and then a handful now. There's not a lot.
I wonder if they take long, or if there's maybe something with like just making them. I don't know, or the demand.
Maybe it's because it's the season. Like I know, like with IPAs have a fairly long season. Depending on what kind you're making, and some will make them all year. But I feel like maybe part of the brewed IPA was like we're in this summer season, and then going into fall, and that doesn't really translate to fall drinking, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, that wouldn't translate to fall drinking, but I drink dark shit all year round. So like maybe I'm not the best judge of that, but
No,
you know.
I'm the same. Yeah.
So we opened all the beers.
I drink everything all year round. Is that a problem?
And for us to real stand on the Brut thing, for me, what I saw, it was just strictly Brut IPAs too. It wasn't Brut anything else. It was just Brut IPAs.
Yeah.
So I think it was just more caught up in the let's just try to do different, IPA because there's 6,000 other ones and we're trying to be different. And I think that's what it was. And then people were like, I don't know. I don't think, because what happens is people like, they imitate and then they don't imitate well. And then people are like, and then it's gone. So that's kind of, I think, where it went. But is everybody opened all their beers, right?
Yeah, I'm still
not all my beers, but I'm.
Yeah, don't open all of them. You won't make it till the morning. That won't.
I was going to say we could go another hour if we're going to open all our beers, but I mean for the show,
hour.
All our beers.
Greg, I have a cellar full of stuff. Are you kidding me?
Okay, well then that's for the marathon show. We're gonna do a marathon show, Doug. We're gonna do all day. We're just gonna have a new guest per hour, and we're just gonna go until we crash.
And then at the end, we'll just be like this.
So we can sit in our cellars and drink them from my cobwebs, surrounded by cobwebs and canned goods.
The next blizzard that affects all of us, we'll just sit in there and we'll just drink.
Yeah, how many can you get on a Zoom here? Can you get like 7 people on?
Oh, I think I can get 20.
Woo!
That would be a show. Oh my goodness.
That would be fun, wouldn't it? So now it's time for the review. So we'll go ladies first on this. So what you do is you tell us, you review the show, review. I'm really bad today. Review your beers and tell us which one's the best one and which one you like the best, and then from there.
All right, I'm a good reviewer, but I'm always like, oh, they're so nice. So my favorite, for the rarity and the fact that I can talk about the tour at Russian River too. I should touch on that before we go, but
okay, let's do it.
Would be the one that I can't pronounce. I just thought it was standing, the way that the head held out throughout the glass from the start to the end was fantastic. I got through the whole beer and then was kind of like, where'd it go, right? I wanted more. So that's always a sign of good beer when you can also have more than one. Invisible Friend, it is kind of my favorite one that I'm drinking these days. So I'm going to put that in at number 2, but only for the fact that I can get this a little bit more often. And then rolling in number 3 is my Eggnog White Stout. Again, for no other reason than it's just not my general style with that little bit of cinnamon, nutmeg. I guess we were saying lactose and vanilla in there as well. Candy cane cookies, that's interesting. It was a real treat. I'm not upset about that at all, but we're going to put that in 3rd. I think it's an easy ranking of what I would have one of. I would enjoy it. I think it would be beautiful around the holidays with some baked goods. Yeah.
Okay, so
tour after.
So started with this Fly Hazy IPA. Or hazy pale ale, not IPA, pardon me. This is quite good. Citrusy and hops mixed very well.
Yeah, but that was better than a lager, wasn't it?
I'm getting there.
Okay, sorry.
The Castrol, which I got on a whim, not my favorite. Like I said, it was like a kind of a sweet lager. It really wasn't my jam. But this is the winner. This is the Weyerbacher Chocolate Pretzel Sunday Morning Stout. Boozy and smooth and just.
Did you get much pretzel though out of it? I mean, I don't know what pretzel tastes like in beer.
I got some saltiness out of it. I didn't get pretzel out of it, but I got the salt part. Yeah. And I didn't expect pretzel because that would be like yeasty, and that would not be good in a beer.
Sure. Yeah.
Like your rye bread beer, Greg.
Oh. Yum, a little bit of rye. Oh, I love describing a beer with like rye bread.
No. Ask Greg how he had a beer that was a rye bread beer. It was
literally rye bread in a glass, literally Callaway seeds and everything.
Oh, what do I want?
Really? I can tell you where to get it. I can tell you exactly where to get it.
I don't know about a beer. I guess that's like liquid bread. I don't know.
It was literally liquid bread. It was, and I despise. I not despise. Rye bread is just not my thing, and it was the only beer in my recent history that I really was going to puke if I drank more. It was really that bad, but it was well executed, Tiff. It was for what they were trying to do. It was excellent. You know what I mean? It just
is that what they were basing it around? What they called it?
It was called rye bread. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep. And it was literally rye bread. It was literally like you tasted it. It was like you were drinking liquid rye bread. Period. Like they nailed it. If that's what they were trying to do, they nailed it. But it was just horrible.
That sounded.
Don't get those healthy greens in you.
I'm pretty sure I put a review on their page and I said that like it just so wasn't my thing, but you guys really nailed it if that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So and that's again with 7,000 breweries and 7,000 beers or 17,000 beers, there's just no way everything's going to be our speed. There's just no way. So you just have to give a hat tip to did they brew it well? Is this something somebody is this something they had a T-shirt for it? So apparently they sold enough of it. So I'm gonna get to mine. Super Fluff was not fluffy.
No, but you said if you would have got that fresh, you would have liked it better.
Oh, it would have been good. It would have been good. It wasn't fluffy, but you guys need to dip in on that one for sure. This dry saison was unexpectedly pretty good. I agree with Tiffany. Saison's generally not my thing, but I know a good one when I taste one, and I like the range of the style. I like that people can really mess around with the style, still call it saison, and a lot of people enjoy it. Saison can go from, in my opinion, session to like, big and heavy, or even like juicy and thick. I mean, saison can go anywhere. It's just so, and I'm not. That's why I'm kind of sometimes when I see saison, I get afraid because some of them I don't like, and some of them don't. So that's probably part of my anxiety. But this one's pretty good. And then this one was my favorite, of course. It's the porter. Surprise, surprise. But this one here, I don't know. This is a strong porter, robust porter, big one. This could fall for a stout. Stout lovers would love this because it gives if you like chocolate and coffee stouts, that's your thing. So this is my Zip Line's my favorite one of the day. So Tiff, you wanted to talk about before we sum up, and we didn't really get to talk about it. So you wanted to talk about a little bit more about your Russian River trip, and I'll finish up what I have here.
Yeah, and also on weird beers, I didn't actually break this out, but I got beer mail from my friend on the West Coast today, and I've received pickle beer. So I'm so curious. So we'll see how long this conversation goes.
I don't know. Open it up.
Please open it up because
open it if you want.
As much as I hate pickles, I want to know.
Open it, please. We're not going anywhere.
I don't know if you watch.
Are you going anywhere?
Another shit. Craig's podcast. My friends have a podcast. He hates pickles, so like every time I see anything to do with pickles, I send it to him. And now I was like, I have 2 of these. I'm tempted to send 1 can out his way and have him like open the mail and be like, "Wow!"
What is the beer called so I can look it up?
It's R&B Brewing, and they're in East Van or Yeast Van as we call it. And it's just dill pickle goza.
So that's in Canada, correct?
Yeah, Vancouver, outside of Vancouver.
Vancouver, ooh, Ontario to Vancouver. That's a pretty far haul, isn't it?
It is, yes. I lived in Whistler, BC for 9 years. It's a 6-hour flight. Yeah, these guys. Oh, they make great beer. Their Stolen Bike's fantastic. Their Vancouver Special is delicious. Their Eastside Bitter. Get up to that ESB. Yeah, that's a fantastic beer.
Oh, this one. I know you're an ESB lady. Yeah, I know that.
Hey, I'm down for the ESB. That's something that I cannot find a lot of. And
Same.
Well, you want to talk? We should get Tiffany back for an underrated beer style, and you guys can rant about ESB.
That's a very good one.
Because that is
that face.
I love pickles, so it smells delicious.
Your face didn't say that. Your face was like, grrr.
It smells like. Oh, I want to try their spruce tip too, but unfortunately, you just sent me 2 pickle beers.
Oh yeah, that looks really tasty too.
So I'm pouring this in. Pardon the glass. It was just next to me, but it's. I have these they're unbreakable plastic glasses, but they're all stylized.
Hey, that's fine. I'm not a glass mouth.
It smells like that.
I'm not.
That tartness that's in a goza or goza, whatever. And not a goose. I know that difference. And you're almost getting a brine, like a pickle brine in there.
Mmm.
And that little bit of saltiness, like that smells gorgeous.
Ah. I want, Doug, I know you want nothing to do with this, but I want this beer right now.
I would clarify.
So good. You're not getting a lot of pickle. I think there's more pickle on the nose.
Okay.
Than there is, it's not as briny.
See, that I would dig.
Like, you know, it's kind of like that vinegar has a certain sense of like sour tart, right? So I think it's like playing on that, but not like an off beer sour, right?
Gotcha.
Ghost is also an underrated style for me, so.
Ghost is an overrated style for me. Let's argue.
No. I think it's underrated.
Around here, but I'm hit or miss. Some are so beautifully done, and some still people aren't. They're getting that too much tart. This is like almost refreshing. I don't want to say watery, but it's like it's not as tart as some of them. It's delicious.
Well, I think
like I drank 4 beers today. I'm just kidding. I didn't drink all 4.
See?
And you were like, 3 beers? What is up with that? And I'm like,
right.
Right. And she tried the still pickle beer. Get my husband.
Yeah. So I think Gozes took a I think Gozes, in my opinion, from what I see, are on the down slope in America. I think that, right. And I think they peaked last year. There was just Gozes everywhere, like in the past 2 years, and now I feel that they're creeping back down. And I think we're going into more. I think Berliners are coming down too. I'm seeing less and less of those.
Oh yeah.
And they used to be coming up. But pickles and Goza, I mean, the saltiness of the pickle, the saltiness of the Goza, it should go like, it should be like simpatico. It should be that beer should be amazing actually.
I might go get a pickle from the fridge and just like
dip it and like yes. I mean we were we had a good time with Afro Beer Chicken.
He returned the can.
Oh, excellent. Well,
he's probably like, here you go. Screw that noise.
He's not as big of a fan of the style in general, so.
So he doesn't like pickles and he doesn't like Gozes.
I'm defending the beer over the husband.
Oh.
Ooh, well, whoa. I think that's a pretty bold statement there.
But this
I just like them, and it's a good beer.
Oh, hey, Greg, before we go, we also need to, again, you said about having Tiff talk about Russian River trip.
I'd like absolutely. I'm not going to, but I want to jump on one thing real quick about Gozes, and I forgot. So Tiff, talk about Russian.
All right, off to you, Tiff.
Hey!
Another word from our sponsor.
Since I'm here, so we spent, like I said, 5 days in San Francisco, and then we rented a car and drove 45 minutes north up to Santa Rosa. And I encourage anyone going out there to take the time to go up there. If you're watching the show, you're probably going to, because that's where Russian River lives. So I actually didn't drink any Pliny when I got out there for the first 5 days, even though it was served everywhere, because I wanted to have my first Pliny sitting there at the original brew pub that was in Santa Rosa. So the brew pub was fantastic. They had like blind pig. They had so much on tap, and it was incredible. Like, to sit down, that's the new brewery, so we also went there. So to sit down at the brew pub at the bar and just be like, can I order a Pliny? Like, completely geeking out because you would never get that here in Canada, and just having them acting like it's the most casual thing ever, just to serve another pint of Pliny. Like, it was hilarious. I'm like, they're either gonna throw me out because of my excitement, or they're gonna like keep me there or something. So yeah. And it was interesting leading up to that. Everyone's like, oh, are you going to Russian River? And I said, yes, of course I am. Everyone's like, well, are you going to the new place? Because the new place is new and it's this and that. And the old pub is where you should go and all this. And I said, I'm going to both. Like, they're only about
where I go.
Yeah, they're about 20 minutes from each other. And I can admire, as you can see on there, a brewery that has money and can build a gorgeous brewery, as much as I can admire the old pub. Right? Like, they're to each their own. They're both completely different crowds there, and it's fantastic. So we stayed at an Airbnb close walking distance to the pub. So we went there and had a great time. The staff was fantastic. We had some wonderful pizza. drank a lot of beer. And then the next day we had a tour. So if you have the chance to go up to this newer brewery, that is in Windsor. So Windsor is just a little bit north of Santa Rosa again. Yeah, the Plenty Fries are really good.
Fries. Oh my God.
I think I had like a full-on meal. Keep going down. I had like an entree of some sort. What did I get? Oh, I had the
well, that is a very California menu.
Is that?
Oh, very.
So good.
So I'm going to tell you, just when I was with my ex-wife and we went to San Francisco, and she wanted to go to the wine country, and everything salads and like all these very, very green and not necessarily vegetarian, but more veggie heavy.
Wisconsin.
And so it's just like that is just like looks very, very Russian to me, or California to me. Sorry, although schnitzel and stuff. All right, well, I'm wrong maybe, but that looks.
Yeah,
weird.
I admire having like vegetables to eat while you're drinking beer for a week.
So you had veggies and drank beer all week?
No, not really. Actually, I'm a liar. I had
because that would have been a recipe. That would have been a recipe for me to never leave the bathroom.
Yeah, no, I ate fried foods.
Are these the Plenty Fries right here?
Yes.
That looks great.
So
except for the jalapenos, because I can't handle those.
And we feel you too, Tiffany. We don't get Pliny the Elder in Wisconsin.
No, we don't get it. We definitely don't get it here.
Right. We don't see it ever.
So some people say it's overrated and it is what it is, but I tell you, like, to me, it was when I started to learn the history about the beer. So I did very little research. All I knew was like Pliny's like the heady, right? Like you're like, oh, it's equally these two fantastic beers you have to have. So I kind of didn't do much research and try to avoid finding out too much about it until I actually got to have my experience there. So learning a little bit that it was actually the first double IPA was kind of the whole story of it. And then almost that it kind of was like the first thing like with Simcoe, and kind of hearing about how Russian River had this plot and the hop wasn't working out. And then this is a very rusty version of the story, but then they kind of named it Simcoe and then kept it going. And that's what they made the Pliny. Like, to hear that whole history on it really kind of brought everything together. And then to sit there and have it on draft was just like fantastic. The only downfall is that it's 8% and you can't sit there and drink 7 of them. Like you can't, right? So I'm like,
well, you could.
Drinking
you have to
Pliny,
get an Uber.
yeah, like you can't. Like I'm like, I want to try their other beer. So it's sort of that little disadvantage when you're kind of dealing with that alcohol content. But when you go to the newer facility, I highly suggest taking a tour. It's $15. It's like the best $15 you're ever spent, and you get to keep this glass. They give you this glass. So this glass alone is probably like a $15 glass. So you go through and they show you, the tour guide's incredibly knowledgeable about, again, the history, about the owners who are fantastic people to chit chat with. And then they take you from where the picture you're seeing there, and into whatever their kettles, and then they take you all the way through this hallway. So they have a nice little setup. You go up those stairs. So Tiffany was like, I can't do stairs like that. And I was like, we're going up the stairs. It was pretty funny to watch. So I hustled up there, and then you're above and you kind of walk down a hallway that overlooks everything, but they have all these open top fermenters. So suddenly like they have the vents coming from them. So like the smell from the open top fermenters are coming from the hallway, and they just see all like, they're just gorgeous, and they're all contained. So they do all their like barrel and all their lambic like wild stuff on the other side, but then they keep all that contained in those rooms. So then when you saw the empty ones and like how massive they were, and the full ones, like it was amazing. And then you keep going down the hall, and there's all these barrels on the left, and then you look down to the end of this red hallway, and there's this gorgeous door. It looks very, very Belgium or monastery or whatever the proper vocabulary to go along with that. Mm-hmm. And you walk through that door, and in there is their cool ship. And they have all wood walls. And I think the wood was taken from, I want to say it was Sierra Nevada, someone's farm or some other trees from another big brewery in the US. Mm-hmm. So they're hoping, this is a very new room, so they're hoping as time goes over, things go into those walls too, right? And you're always recreating. So we did like a tasting of a beer that was literally bottled that day, standing over the cool ship. Like it was like phenomenal. I was blown away, and then we went and had food after. In the gift shop, you could buy more beer, but it was quite an experience. So yes, it's big and shiny and new out there, but there is no reason that you should miss that. And to see what they've created, and again, just to see that team of people working there and everyone kind of having their heart and soul in the business and actually learning about it. Like they had all these pictures on the wall where they had to like build the brewery around the cool ship. So the cool ship was set first, all the fermenters were in place, and then they had to build the brewery around it because you couldn't get it into it, right? So it was really cool to feel like you were kind of a part of it and going through it. So and there's tons more breweries around that area in Santa Rosa. Like holy smokes.
Is North Coast anywhere near there?
No, I don't think so, but that doesn't mean it's not. I don't remember hearing that.
That's in Fort Bragg, and I'm not sure how close that is to Santa Rosa.
Yeah, I know we didn't go
that
there.
one has Old Rasputin, and that's one of my all-time favorite beers.
No, there was one with a chicken on it. I should remember these names now that I've had like.
One with the chicken on it. I love
one
that.
with the chicken on it. But they had all names that were all about like conspiracies. So it was so interesting. They had beautiful beers. And then another spot we went in, wait, we can put these in the notes, but it was like a can release day. So they only release cans once every 3 months. So I'm like trying to buy one can. I didn't realize it was can release day. And I'm like, well, on my luggage, I'm like, can I just get the one can of the Kurt Reynolds? Because they have hilarious names. And she's like, no. And then again, I'm surprised they didn't throw me out because then I realized it was can release day. So people were coming in and buying so much beer. Like it was just such a neat experience and such a good time. Oh yeah. So if you go to Santa Rosa, like that cluster in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't go to 3rd Street. Nope. Keep going. Oh, we missed there too. Russian River, go to the other one, and then go up. No, so go to that one.
Fogmount.
Oh, Three Disciples. That's a great name for a brewery.
Yeah, we didn't go to these ones up. Go up higher then. Maybe that's where we were. Yes, Cooperage. And not
Wow.
we went to Cooperage was the one that was doing the can releases that day, and they had beautiful beer and really like clever stuff. But yeah, it was kind of an interesting concept to build. I don't know. I feel like that's also more common in the US too. Like, oh, we have can release day and we would just release 4 packs every month or like once every 3 months. It's really interesting. They have a lot of fun names on their stuff, like $dollar pills, y'all. We had in the cultivating mouse.
Kurt Reynolds.
And then the Kurt Reynolds. Yeah, so we got a sticker of that.
Also, the one guy pouring the beer that just dribbles down his face is
funny. But those are very, very well done beers there too.
Wow. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you have really had a full, rich experience. How long did how much do you put in when you travel? How much time do you put in, like in the whole process of like selecting the breweries and stuff that you go to? Or
it's probably like 70% minimum, like brewery based that we do, and then I like to get some sightseeing, right? And I want to know where like local food is too. And I think it's important to see sites, and like I also think it's important like to earn your beer sometimes. So like we went up to the Redwoods and did a walk in there before going to the brewery, right? So I think it's all about balance sometimes, because also after a week of tasting beer, like you're just like, what are you tasting? It is what it is, and it gets to be exhausting at times. So I think this one we were a little bit more, not to say responsible, but like Brittany and I shared flights more than had a pint. Like I think we got to explore a lot more beer this time in a more strategical way, just because there was so much out there to offer. But like we barely even nicked the tips of breweries in San Francisco, the city. And like Cellar Maker was like incredible. There was just so much going on there. I was blown away. So
did you get to Anchor?
We didn't get. We went to Anchor on our last day, and it was actually closed.
Oh,
until noon. We had to be at the airport for noon. So I was sad that we left that for the last day, because I was like, oh, it's kind of traditional, right? Like I feel like that's probably one of the first craft beers I have had. And I remember drinking Anchor Steam. We crossed the bridge and went over and caught an Oakland A's game because the Giants weren't in town. And over on the other side, we went to a place called Faction Brewing. And it's like they have like, you're looking across the bay at the whole like sky rise or whatever that's called, like city view of San Francisco. And they make fantastic beers. They're like, love their hops, but like solid, like good beer. And they have the Shaggin' Wagon from Dumb and Dumber in there. So you can take fun pictures. It's all on the blog. But it was really good. And there's a malt house that's actually a pub, and they make all beers from their malt there, but that was closed. I was devastated. But yeah, it's a fantastic, like, honestly, there's probably like 50 places you can go, and it's it was certainly a worthwhile place to visit.
Well,
I think it's a good way to wrap it up, dude. We've been going for an hour and 20.
Excellent.
Oh my God. And it's funny. We just
forever when I get going. So
hey, no, we told you, we said at the beginning, we're just going to go to however long, and just sometimes this just takes on a life of its own. And that's
absolutely. And
that's the best part about this. This is what I enjoy. Is just, all right, we're all sharing beers. We're all sharing experiences. That kind of shit you can't get. And I just really enjoy that. So thanks for sharing that, Tiff. I really
my pleasure. Thanks for listening.
and, hey, Tiffany, I like to offer you, I think you should come back in March, because you and
March Madness.
You and Doug can do that, feel that March Madness love, and we can, I don't know, maybe we could do some maybe we could do something.
Who's your team? Depends on what his team is.
Oh.
My team? Kentucky.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I can respect
now I want to qualify that, because everybody would say, well, it's Kentucky because they're pop. No, I have been a Kentucky fan since when Rick Pitino first came there, and they were on probation, and they had no fucking buddy. And they had all these local Kentucky kids that were not Division I players, and they somehow made the tournament. They went like to the Elite Eight. They just never should have been in a tournament. It was just
I feel like Kentucky's always been on my, like, I like these guys. Like, I don't know. I do sort of have the same teams. Like, I've always been like a Michigan or Michigan State. I know it's probably a rivalry in its own, but that's always been where my heart lies. But like, there's a few other teams that I'm like, Kentucky is one that I root for when they get going as well.
Yeah.
Like, I like that.
It depends on their team. There's been a few teams that I was like, I have a real hard time rooting for these guys.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's like any other sports team. You go, all right, so I like the team, but they had these dudes on there that I don't know. I can't really back as much as I would like to.
I've never been a Duke fan. I'm always anti-Duke. So we're going on a tangent now.
Well, there's certain that I will say, like last year when Duke had Zion Williamson, I watched as many games of theirs as I could, because that guy was like just a freak of nature. And I want to see that weird shit that, all right, this guy just jumped from like the free throw line. How the hell am I going to miss that? Like, yeah, I don't like Duke, but I want to see that. So, yeah.
Toronto Raptors and the shows. Let's just talk about the Toronto Raptors.
Oh, yes, you are Canadian, so you should talk about that shit.
Watch, like, you should. This house was not a fun place to be in during the playoffs. Like, during that final series.
Why?
Oh, it was just rough, man.
Oh.
We didn't do it.
But
like,
Bernie's down, though. Bernie was down with the Raptors, right? It wasn't between you and Bernie.
We did pyro for them last season.
Okay. So it wasn't between you and Bernie. It was just like they better win.
It was just like between us and the Raptors, and about to disown them and being like, what are you doing?
So on that note.
Yes, sorry.
No, don't be. Actually, we don't have to. You guys got more. I don't care. Again, I'm not going.
Gosa. Have salt on top of salt.
It smells so good. I wish I could share the scent with you.
I thought you were a Ghost fan, though. Come on,
I'm a fan of Gosas. I am not a fan of.
Then don't criticize the salt.
There's the only time I like pickles are on Cuban sandwiches. Because that is just a great combo. Otherwise, I don't like pickles unless they're gherkins, which are sweet pickles. So, like,
no, give me the deal.
Give me a sweet pickle Gosa, and I'm all in.
All right. Well, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. It's been awesome.
We'll bring you back. March is the deal. Cool?
Absolutely.
It's perfect.
March.
See you guys.
See ya.
Thanks for drinking with us.
Thanks, everybody. Later.
In a week.